Hi, YouTube. It's Angela. We are going to do a little journey of self-exploration here today, right? We're going to, well, let's just start. We're going to find a way to more freeing energy from a starting point that feels a little stuck. Okay. So the first card I pulled here is, what is your honest truth? This changes from time to time, right? There are some core truths that that we all hold, but many things that we believe to be true over the course of our lives were suggestions or planted into our minds by authority or parents or our own experiences, right? You know, the beliefs that we take on and that we let take hold within our being don't necessarily need to last forever, right? They change with us. As we evolve, they evolve. Our truths evolve. For the most part, we, sometimes, I guess, sometimes we go through life in a little bit of a mindless way. That's like, let me just recognize this truth, this old truth, lock it up. It's part of my DNA now. It's part of who I am, and I'm hanging on. That's it. That's who I am, and that's what I am. And then moving forward, when you come upon things that are counter to that, and that maybe create a little discomfort because you're holding on to this truth and you're feeling a pull to go in another direction, a lot of times we find ourselves, in not in crisis, but in a little bit of trauma. Like, I don't, let me find a quick example. So, yeah, I'm raised as a nice young lady. I'm not me, but I'll just be anybody. Jane Doe is raised as a nice young lady who's polite, and her parents always remind her, don't speak unless spoken to. Which, oh, could you imagine? Never in my life, but don't, keep your mouth shut. Don't speak unless spoken to. No one needs to hear your opinions, right? Maybe you're told that over and over as a small child. For whatever reason, you were taught that truth, right? No one wants to hear what you have to say. For whatever reason you were taught that, you believed it. You took it on as yours. And then you come into a point in your life, and then you live your life that way for a while, right? You stay demure, you don't speak up, you don't challenge anything that's that's sort of standard and out there, until a little fire gets in your belly, and it's like, hey, wait a minute, that needs to be said, right? Whatever it is. And so you're at odds with this truth you've held all along, which is, no one wants to hear what I have to say, and I don't deserve to speak up. Just go and live my quiet life, right? When that becomes at odds, then it's like, okay, what is my honest truth now? My honest truth is that my expression is important to me, and when I hear something being said out there that's against my belief, I will challenge it. I have the right to say it, right? So this is what I'm talking about. These little sort of not predetermined, but old, rooted in old origins of what you believe is the way to go. And at some point, you could be it could be necessary to let that go, to release that truth, right? And replace it with what is currently your truth and what's right for you. These old truths, sometimes they become too small for the way we're expanding, and we have to kind of realign it, right? We have to release it and find a new way going forward. With all of these oracles, I pulled Zen cards as well. So I'm going to go ahead and do those. Sometimes I go through all the oracles and then clarify, but I'm going to do each one. So with this honest truth, the Zen cards I pulled are mind and fighting. These are both mental energies. These are depicted by the gray color, the clouds in Zen Tarot, which is the swords in the traditional deck. This mind card is, yeah, so this is that boiling point, kind of. Look at that. It's it's ready to like explode because it can't hold anymore in line. It doesn't want to. It's ready to either implode or explode, right? Then we have the fighting card, which is within you, those competing thoughts. You know, I was told to keep my mouth shut as a child, and that's just not, that's not what I think is right for me. I don't feel, I'm not aligned with that anymore. So these mental energies are sometimes what hold us in place with whatever paradigm we're following, whatever belief system we're in. It's those mental energies that really need a breakthrough in order to release and create more expansion. So tackling or identifying, not tackling yet, identifying what is your honest truth, and being sure from a mental perspective to formulate that or identify it, pinpoint it, so that you can start working on the release of it. The next oracle card I pulled is called From Bud to Flower. And this is, I love this. I love these cards right here. They're from like this meditative deck. And I love the illustrations because they're so simple, but they're really fun. This is, so the bud here of the flower holds the entire flower within it in this form, right? The flower's already there. It's already ready to come through. This is literally the course of your life, right? You're born with invisible possibilities, right? They're shrouded at the time. And as you emerge and as you grow with each step and each layer that you release and express out, each part of you, that an experience that comes along, you continue to grow into, which is the final photo of that flower. And that's the path of your life. This is your, it's the things that are held, what we call the invisible possibilities within that bud are there. They're already there. They're waiting to be released at the proper time. And if you take each stage of your growth and really, identify with, okay, I've had this in me all along, right? This new realization that I'm coming upon, whatever it is, if it's a spiritual, energetic clarity, it's been within you all along, and it just happens to be the time for it to flower. And then the Zen cards I pulled with this, it's not, I swear to you, I didn't seek these cards, but they came out in the perfect timing, in the perfect order with this bud to flower card. I got courage, bud to flower. We know this card, the little seedling that lives within the boulders, is unaware, right? Just like maybe the bud is kind of unaware of all those unseen phases of growth and those unseen miracles that could bring us to another level. And somehow, right, the little seedling lets the water soften its outer hard shell and lets the sunlight draw it in and pull it up from the darkness. This is the first card that goes with this bud to flower. Looks like it couldn't be more perfect. And then the next card is literally flowering. So this is, again, the seeds you plant and the things that are germinating, that your intentions that you set along the path of your life are waiting. They're there waiting to come through. So I really love that. But remember, none of that development and exploration can happen as easily until we're aligned with our truth. Right? That's the reason that card came out first. Then the next set is, I got lead your metamorphosis, right? Change, always we're talking about the chrysalis to the butterfly. Change, release the old. Again, with the same as the truth card, releasing the old, the old sort of reliable viewpoints that we've always held. Keep your mouth shut, don't speak up, right? It's time to change that. It's time to release it. those old beliefs at some point will become stale. And it's time for growth. It's time to spread your wings. With that, the two Zen cards I pulled with this Lead Your Metamorphosis card are the source. This is the core of who you are. This is what is guiding you. If you're tapped into it, if you're aware of it, and you're in touch with your source, then that's what guides you. That's where your guidance come from. And then I pulled guidance. So yeah, flowing with that desire, flowing with where your truth leads you, not the old ones, right? We have to release the old ones and come up with the current honest truth, and then find that way forward using our intuition, using our gut knowing, and of course connecting to source, connecting to the collective, to use the support that's there to continue our evolution. And then along the way, so we've identified the truth, we've started to uncover some of our possibilities, and we're taking charge of our own, our own path and our own growth, and exploring that on our own, leading our metamorphosis. And then I got adaptation. This is the octopus. What a creature, right? I never really knew that much about octopus life until I saw that movie, My Octopus Friend. Blown away, just blown away by the fact that they can camouflage, which a lot of creatures can, but they can also mimic the sounds of other creatures, so that when the predators come in to look, they can pretend to be something else and be believed, right? They adapt because they're surviving. They've been known to leave the water in order to escape a predator. So it's finding creative ways. It's taking what is put in front of you and adapting to it, finding a creative way to adapt to it, to survive and thrive, right? And continue your growth. See it at a new angle, right? Adapt and explore. Adapt and move on. With the adaptation card, I pulled trust, which a lot of this spiritual work and our own personal development work relies on trust. You're relying on the unseen outcome. Don't really know. But if you're going with your own, guidance and your own, right, your own source and your own feeling and what direction to go, it can't really lead you wrong. So the trust is there. And I'm going to go with the way it feels better. It feels better to go in this direction. I'm going to go in that direction. I'm going to trust that the outcome is waiting for me, right? And I got mastery to go with that metamorphosis card as well. I mean, the adaptation card as well. Mastery. This is, your ease and your knowing that the entire path of your life, all of these little points of opening and points of flowering and the new unseen, the invisible possibilities coming to light, all of that is your doing, right? We like to put a lot of emphasis on circumstances or other people's influence, or, well, this is, what I was given to work with, and so this is all there is, or whatever. That's only if you believe it, right? It starts with your belief and your truth, always. And then soon you become, aware at really how much you are behind the wheel, navigating your life. You start to really become aware of that. And then it becomes a lot easier to overcome things that are challenging. That stuff, the challenges and, big, difficult situations, difficult personalities, difficult, hard places that you find yourself in. That's all going to happen, right? That's called life, right? The crap that comes at you, it's going to happen. The quality of your life depends on the way you respond to that, right? So as we go and as we rely on our trust and learn to adapt and move with the energy that's given us, we begin to master it. It becomes easier to move through some of these stickier moments. Leading me to my last set of cards, which is perfection. It's called Swimming with Dolphins. Love it. And this depicts like you're just total freedom, play, fun, moving with the flow. You know, the dolphins don't kind of stop and go, oh, the waves are too high. You know, maybe they'll go underwater for a while to let those things pass, but soon enough they're up and playing again. They broke the surface and they're up and playing again. And they do it in a group. The energy drives them, right? And this is your sort of outcome or your final card. And the Zen cards I pulled with that sense of freedom, that sense of play, I got stress, right? This is in response to any stress that you may have, right? We all get stress, but if we're incorporating this path, right? Leading our metamorphosis, adapting to things as they come along, and really just making the ultimate goal to have fun and freedom, then the moments of stress are lessened, right? The duration is lessened and the intensity is lower. And then the very final card that I have, remember, it started with what's your honest truth, maybe feeling a little bit stuck. The final card is adventure. Forward with eagerness into that unknown, right? That little figure in the forest, she's going toward the rainbow light where she knows nothing. She doesn't know what's there, right? But she can feel it. She feels that it could be fun. She feels that she will end up swimming with the dolphins, you know, or at least with that same energy if she follows her gut, follows her source and moves toward it, toward the unknown with eagerness. I love this. This is a really nice map for, you know, getting ourselves unstuck from certain energies or moving ourselves into the next phase of our evolution that we, once we recognize, you know, I've been here a long time, it's ready to break through. And it all starts with releasing old truths and creating your new one, or acknowledging your new one. Beautiful. Okay, that was it for now. I'm so grateful you're here. If you want, you can subscribe to my newsletter. It's down here in the notes of the video. And, you know, weekly, you'll get a little reminder of the weekly video and also just a little blurb from me. And then soon I'll have some announcements in my newsletter as well. So I hope to see you there. All right, take care.